Hey, air signs, it's your girl Bella. I wanted to come and do a Mercury retrograde reading because Mercury retrograde can be really confusing for a lot of people. You're like, why is everything slowed down? What is happening? Why are things shifting? And it. I felt like it would be important, so I am doing it. um, so I went ahead and art. Okay, things are already popping out. Give me a second to do this. Anyway, so if you guys have not watched your mid-month reading, go ahead and check that out because that's like super important as well. Um, there is a lot of shifts that happened during this year, a lot of eclipses that happened this year, in regards to what are you passionate about? What is it that drives you? What is it, you guys are definitely kings and queens of inspiration or uh, yeah, kings and queens of inspirations. And so, this is definitely basically this Mercury retrograde is definitely going to tie into how are you inspiring the world? How are you inspired by the world? How are things sort of playing out? Things are popping out right now, by the way. I'm shuffling with my tarot for the time being deck. I had to actually like look it up. um, tarot for the time being deck. And so we're going to explore basically um, what Mercury retrograde is supposed to teach you, what may be happening during this Mercury retrograde that is going to maybe shift some things in your life for the better. It may, in some ways, sometimes Mercury retrograde can be a little painful for some. Um, even just with the miscommunications and things like that. But no need to fear or to fret. This is definitely all to set you up for the first 6 months, which are supposed to be absolutely amazing um, in uh, in the year 2019. So anyway. I went ahead and drew 8 cards, and we're going to go through this story that's being laid out here. Okay, so we already start with you guys, the king of spirits, the king of air, the king of inspiration, the king of um uh basically you feel like on some level before Mercury retrograde started, you kind of know what you're doing. You got some clarity. I know that like in the last few months that you guys have been a little bit jumbled up, a little bit unclear as to what direction you were going, but now you guys are a little bit more clear. You guys have the paper signed. You guys have the sort of gumption to go for what it is that you desire. Now, this is where Mercury retrograde starts to rear its ugly head. Or ugly hair, whatever, but the illusion card. So there may be some things in your guys' life at this current moment, perhaps that even showed up as Mercury went retrograde, that seemed like they were good ideas, seemed like they were definitely going to. I have the Emperor card right here as well. Seemed like they were definitely going to up your game. The thing with Mercury retrograde you have to remember is what starts in Mercury retrograde usually ends in Mercury retrograde as well. Maybe not this one, but another one. Um, and so cyclically what ends up happening is we enter into contracts or business deals or blah 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 during Mercury retrograde, and a lot of times those are there to teach you a certain lesson, or those are there to clear out some of the negative energies that you've sort of been attached to. So the illusion card coupled with the Emperor card, I feel like something came up, some opportunity came up, some information came up that made you feel like, oh yeah, totally. This is exactly what I'm doing. I'm so clear. Like no one needs to tell me anything. And you guys might want to rework some things. You guys might want to, look at the fine print of this particular contract. You guys might want to, if it enter a new relationship, give it some time. It's not saying it won't work, but give it a little bit of time, because even relationships have their cycle, you know? And so just kind of give it a little bit of time right now to really kind of suss out exactly who the person is, what the job is. If it's just in general, kind of like if you started a new diet, for example, give it some time to figure out if that diet even works with your own, def- like vitamin deficiencies and things like that. So this is very much like, it's not like you won't get there. Okay, all roads lead to Rome on some level, but don't be so sure. Don't be so sure yet, because. And this is probably going to happen, I would say, probably beginning of December. We have the defeat card. And so sometimes being too sure can lead to this. Not because of the fact that it's like pride before fall or some sort of weird punishment or any of that. It's almost like because you put your trust in something too fast. You counted your eggs before they hatched. It's kind of that thing. But as things sort of clear out, if you keep a clear head about it, it actually also leads to this point of creation. And so basically, you had a vision, you saw what you wanted, you were able to manifest, if you will, what you wanted. For your life, but maybe there's some things that weren't necessarily in line with your own authentic self. Maybe were certain things that weren't necessarily in line with what you really want, what you truly want, what your true will is, And so this brings you to the point of creation. Now, I like to say sometimes, sorry, I have my eye. I like to say sometimes that darkness isn't necessarily a bad thing. Being thrown back into sort of this flailing place of feeling like you're drowning isn't necessarily a bad thing, because you will get saved, number one. Number two, because it makes you really face your darkest part of yourselves and heal those parts of yourselves. So we have the moon card. So the moon card, I would say, in this particular situation, is you guys might enter a little bit of a dark night of the soul. Okay, that is totally normal. Hold on. My mom's clock is going on. Hold on. People clocks that they have to make noise for music. I don't understand that. Anyway, so the moon card comes up, and basically, you guys are going to have to. I feel like probably around the 7th of December or so, probably around the new moon period. I feel like you guys are really going to have to do a lot of shadow work, um, really kind of face some really ugly truths about yourselves or those around you, or situations that you thought were going to be more beneficial that weren't, and face these ugly truths about who these people are that you were dealing with, what these situations were that you were dealing with. Okay, to face of some ugly little truths, um, and be careful to not play the victim. Be careful to not, blame other people or other things for the sake of completely deflecting accountability off of yourself and what maybe you have contributed to the situation. That can happen very easily. And what my mom always says, what you don't learn, you're bound to repeat. So you don't want to repeat some shit cycle, right? So because you don't want to repeat a shit cycle, you want to make sure that you don't pass off blame to other people, really do some self-reflection work within that sort of like December 7th to December 16th sort of period. Now, okay, now you're not going to be left in the dust. Okay, we have the unified fields card, and so, or the unified field card. And so really this is still all you planting the seeds that you need to, in order for you guys to have a more stable, beginning of the year, or 2019 in general, but sometimes with that you need to sort of face those uncomfortable moments. You need to face those demons, if you will, within yourself in order to be able to have a better land, you know, a better situation. You know, things will come together. They may just not come together the way that you expected them to. They may not come together the way that you would have preferred, but they will come together the way that they are supposed to, in a way of which is actually better, that actually works out better. You're going to find a much better situation, maybe even more money, or maybe a better, more connected partner, maybe even your twin flame. You're gonna find some things out within this sort of Mercury retrograde period that are going to kind of send you for a loop for a little bit, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean you don't have it. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. um like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys. If you haven't, like I said, if you haven't watched your video for the mid-month readings, those are up. And yeah, so I hope that was helpful, and I will talk to you guys soon.